Bring it.
Good evening. Good evening, friends. Salutations and finest greetings. Welcome to another episode of Woodworking is Bullshit. I'm your host, Paul Jasper of Copper Pig Woodworking, scientist by day, woodworker by night. And in the chair is my boy, Erik Curtis, fine furniture maker and content creator.
Goddamn right. What's up, cowboy? How you doing?
I think we've both had a few. We both had a pretty good week, Erik.
It's been a week. It's been a week.
And that's why we're doing this. This was an impromptu session of Barstool Confession.
Well, is this our first emergency pod?
I think this is our first emergency. Yeah, where we're like, you want to talk about this? Because I need to talk about this.
And we needed to talk about it, I think.
So this is our fourth installment of Barstool Confessions, which is a particular format that we stumbled upon quite organically, where Erik and I channel the old Erik and I.
As if
we're just sitting at the bar together at the corner of a bar, enjoying a whiskey, which we are.
Goddamn right.
And just talking about life and philosophy. And Erik is hit me up with a banger of a topic for this one. So Erik, I don't exactly know what you're going to say, and I have a topic that you have no idea what I'm going to say, and they're both 8 and 9 on a 10-point scale of heaviness. So why don't you lead with the 9?
All right. Well, I've been doing lighter weight, higher rep lately, so the heaviness is going to be gonna build up the lactic acid, you know. Okay, so as you know, buddy, I spent the last couple of months making a cabinet, and I felt that I needed to create the space to make that cabinet, because the relationship that I was in ended very abruptly. It was not a thing I saw coming. It was a thing that was a shock to me, to you, to all of my other closest friends that I talked to about it. And triggered a lot of previous insecurities in me that I needed to work through and create space for. So I started making this cabinet as a reflection on the relationship in part, but also on myself, on the relationships, the platonic relationships, the friendship relationships I've developed over the years, and that support system that I've developed. It's a reflection on all of those things, but there are so many details of it that are intricately tied to the relationship that I was in and the ending of that relationship, especially because shortly before it ended, it became a public relationship, which was like, that was a difficult thing to process.
Yeah.
So the question that I have, that I've been sitting with, that I've been wondering about over the last few weeks is, I did record the build. I didn't speak to camera at all. And so I've got this massive collection of footage because it's an intricate piece, you know. It's shop sawn veneers, solid lumber core. I designed and fabricated the spring-loaded hardware mechanism to revolve around the whole concept revolves around it. Like, it's a major part of this cabinet. And I'm unsure how to tell the story of this cabinet in the video that will come, because the videos ultimately are the thing that pay the bills, especially since I'm not going to sell this cabinet. So as I don't want to use the word forced, but because my job is to make videos, about the objects that I make. And this object is so emotionally loaded. How exposed is too exposed when you're talking about these types of things in front of a public audience or in front of the internet or in front of whomever it is?
Boy,
Yeah.
how exposed is too exposed? When you make an object that embodies parts of how you feel, and then you're going to make a 40-minute long video about that object. And what do you say? Well, sorry, my scientist brain, as it does, it goes straight to three distinct possibilities. Like I tend to go right to limit cases.
Okay.
So on the one limit case, you don't say a word. It's a silent video.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, the viewer takes from it what they will. Knowing something of the backstory, like maybe just a statement up front. You know, this cabinet is me processing the end of a significant relationship, and rather than to talk through the video and explain everything, I just present it. Take from it what you will. That's one option. The other extreme is full disclosure. Every detail. I did this because this happened and it reminded me of this, and this is how I processed it. And this detail embodies this idea, and this is how I feel, and this is how I'm going to find closure. Like full explanation. Every gory detail. And then there's a series of solutions between those, which is in essence how we're conducting this podcast, which is some details, but not all the details. Enough that you're comfortable saying it publicly and it gives some illumination, but it doesn't go into a lot of personal detail. And that middle solution has a 20%, 30% in either direction, right? Like you can edge it towards, you can edge it away. And so I don't know that's how my brain works in terms of mapping out a framework of possible solutions, the two limit cases and something in between. What's your gut tell you?
I have visceral gut reactions to all three of those.
Oh no.
So this is the hard part of it, right? So
yeah.
I think we've talked about a little bit all three of those options. Not saying anything is the most comfortable version of it for me. And here's why. The object is the object. Once the object is done, like I belong to the school of philosophy that like once the piece of artwork is done, it no longer belongs to the artist, it belongs to the public, right? The video in this case is the work. The object will always belong to me. It's there. It is, I have a piece about my ex-wife. I have a piece about the first girl. That. You didn't know that?
I didn't know you had a piece about your ex-wife.
Yeah, I have a piece about the first girl I fell in love with after my divorce. And, now it's well, at this point, it's a fucking pattern, I feel like.
Erik, when are you going to have a piece about your feelings about me? I want to make the wall. I want to make the wall of
the wall
pieces.
Of shame. Yeah,
no, it's not shame, but I want to make the wall of pieces.
We never talked about the Atlas table being about my ex-wife.
No,
that's about the end of my marriage. Yeah,
you didn't tell me that.
Oh, buddy. Oh, we'll take that off air, but that's the thing. Yeah,
I had no idea.
Yeah. So,
holy shit, Erik.
I think that is a manifestation of, well, at that point in time, I think it was me not being able to express thoughts and feelings in the human experience well, and not being comfortable articulating those things. So they came out through objects because it's easier to say things without words, like It's anybody who has had a father who is, we'll say, light on words, knows that sometimes like you can get a look and exactly what he's trying to tell you without any of those words. And I think that's kind of where that stems from.
So if that's the case, Erik, let's just do the thought experiment. You do a silent video with just a small preamble. You said that's the most comfortable. Do you have any reservations about that?
I have a lot of reservations about it because it feels not disingenuous, maybe half-hearted. Like it's
not half-hearted. That's not half-hearted, dude.
There's so many things. Okay, so let's put a lot of the details of the object on the table, right? A lot of these details.
It reminds me a lot of my skull cabinet, if I'm being honest.
Not interesting.
In essence, like the drawer assembly, like it's basically the same form factor. The drawer assembly.
Yeah,
I was watching you fit drawers. I'm like, dude, it's just like my skull cabinet. Like, it's such a similar object.
At the end of the day, it's nothing more than a simple cabinet, right?
It's like a diminutive valuables cabinet.
It is. That's exactly what is in there, right? So let's talk about the concept of the cabinet for a moment, because I think that feeds into the way that it was conceptualized and actually built. So the concept of the cabinet is at the end of any relationship, right? And it could be romantic, it could be parental, like if a parent dies, it could be at the end of a familial relationship or a platonic relationship of like somebody moves away. You have all of this, what I've been calling the detritus of a relationship. Like all of these objects that are just around at the end of a relationship. And you might not be ready to get rid of them, but you also know they need to go away for a period of time, and most people have a basement or an attic to like put things in a shoebox and put it up and away. Number one, I don't have an attic because I live in a Philly row home. But also I needed to create that space to sit with what was happening. And so the concept of the cabinet is really about that period of time where you need a place to put these objects that exist that you're not ready to discard yet, but also they need to be out of your line of sight on your day to day. They need to be locked away somewhere so that it's a transition cabinet, for lack of a better way to phrase it.
Interesting.
And so with that concept in mind, I had this slab that I had purchased towards the beginning of that relationship. And it was in effect it was a roll of the dice. In effect, it was a gamble of like, if this works out, I will have this to make as a gift for my partner if it ends up going the distance. And so once it ended, it was very quickly, it was like, what am I going to do with that slab? Yeah. Okay, well, something needs to be turned into, it can't just sit there, something needs to be made from it.
It's part of the detritus.
It's part of the detritus for sure. And so the entire cabinet, outside of the poplar core of the main components, is made from that slab. And then the lock that I used for that cabinet was engraved by Jenny. Mm-hmm. And during the pandemic, and she sent it to me and she was like, one day you'll figure out what to do with it. And so I texted her when I had that idea. I think it was actually like the day maybe I left her house this summer or the day after. And I was like, here's what I'm going to do with it. Are you okay with that? And she was like, absolutely. Like, do what you got to do. So it was both like, this is the thing, is like, there's so many layers to tease out. Like it's the slab that I bought that needed to go away. It's the end of the relationship. It's also like using the lock from Jenny is a nod to the fact that like every single day after that happened, Jenny called, Larissa was there, you called. Like these friends that were checking in and making sure everything was okay, and I felt loved and I felt supported. Um, and so that lock is a nod to all of those relationships.
Wow.
And so the question is like,
Wow.
so at the end of the day, it's a fucking box with some drawers in it,
Yeah,
right?
but there's so much symbolism in each part of that.
Right.
Yeah.
And so how much of that story is able to be told on the internet in a way that adds to the story and doesn't become self-indulgent? Like there's
Come on,
so
Erik,
doing
you're not being self-indulgent.
but so doing the silent video is like the stoic approach, right?
Yeah.
It's like, this exists, take from it what you will. I'm not going to tell you, but if you know, you know, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Telling everything in this podcast it's always felt different, maybe because it's just you and me talking and I don't actually know who listens to the fucking podcast. So like the ramifications aren't direct to me.
Whoever's listening.
Like, well, like in fairness, hey guys, if you didn't know this until now, Paul is the one to respond to all of the comments and DMs and everything because he's a sweet boy.
Sweet boy. So
like it feels somehow safer to talk about these things on the podcast than it does on the YouTube channel, right? But that also is like the emo band approach. And what I don't want to happen is, in the same way that we kind of now laugh at the emo bands of the early aughts, where we're like, oh, all right, guys, that was a little heavy handed. Maybe grow the fuck up. You know, like I don't want to put that out into the world either.
Yeah.
So it's a weird.
So it sounds like you're leaning to something in between.
Yeah, and I don't know. I genuinely. So it is, guys. Currently, it is Tuesday. This video will come out on Saturday, and I still don't know how I'm going to approach telling this story.
Well, just to give as an example from what you were just saying, I feel as though the lock mechanism on the front is obviously symbolic, like a lock. Like when do you put a padlock on the front of a cabinet, right? So obviously there's symbolism there. But the story that you added about Jenny being one of the people who cared, checked in on you the most and gave you this just for some future possibility, like you'll know what to do with it. And it's like, it came true. That moment came and you knew what to do with it. And that lock became almost like symbolic of the friends that checked in on you a lot. That is such an important part of that story. Like when I look at that lock, I'll never see that lock the same again. So from that point of view, the silent stoic approach leaves almost too much on the table.
And this is so this is again the trouble of like, I agree with you and telling you all of the details, telling Larissa all of the details, telling Justin all of the details. Sean came over after Maker Camp, and we were hanging out for a couple of days, and that was when I brought the cabinet home. And Sean's a sweet boy. I love him to pieces. We talked at length about the cabinet, and I told him all the things. But like, those are friendships versus engaging with the public.
Yeah.
So okay. So if you have a piece, first of all, do you have any pieces that are like reflective of a moment? Not necessarily the end of a relationship, but just like any moment.
Not a relationship, like I'm very different than you. Like when I'm in turmoil inside, I don't do well in the shop.
Yeah.
So no, I don't have any turmoil pieces embody the turmoil. But I do, I mean, there's pieces that were definitely a moment in retrospect that I was going through a transitional period in who I was as an artist, and they embody that moment. To me, when I look at them, I see that moment. So yes, I get what you're saying. Erik, the thought I had about how much detail to tell the general public versus to leave out, I often think, based on just my experience and giving presentations in pharma and like just storytelling, that 3 is a good number. 3 is a magic number. Like 1's not enough. 2, you're still hungry. 3 is like, it just always feels right. 4 is often too many for some reason. So what if just using that principle, you said, I'm going to highlight 3 parts of this cabinet that I think are particularly significant, and just let that be the guide. The lock. What would be the 3 things that are most significant?
See, it's a good metric. I'm not pushing back on that. And I'm genuinely trying to think of what the 3 are. Obviously the lock is one.
Could I guess?
Please.
Could I throw one out?
Please.
That the piece of wood is one.
Okay.
You bought that slab thinking that it was going to manifest into one destiny, and it manifested into an entirely opposite and different destiny.
Can't get farther apart than what it is, dog.
Sorry, I'm not laughing. It's just like,
we actively are laughing. It's fine.
No, I know, but like, fuck, gee whiz, I mean, that. All right, go ahead. What else?
So, I mean, those are the first 2 that definitely jumped into my brain. But the as soon as the question of the slab comes up, then it becomes like how do you dance that dance? Because so the slab is the first part of the video, right? Chopping up the slab into veneers and veneering the main part of the cabinet. That's the first thing that happens in the video. So either we acknowledge that 6 months into this relationship, I bought this slab because I was like, I might marry this girl. Wow. And then turns out, oops, JK, all berries.
Wait, what does that mean? All berries?
Oops, all berries? You don't know that Captain Crunch?
Oh,
no.
I'm like, what?
That's the 10 years or whatever between us right there. You've never had Captain Crunch Oops All Berries?
No.
You were like in grad school when I was fucking 8 years old, chowing down on fucking.
Don't sleep on Captain Crunch Peanut Butter Crunch. That is like
don't get me wrong.
Cereal out there.
Peanut Butter Crunch goes hard. It will, in I cannot state this strong enough. It will ravage your mouth. You will bleed for days. The roof of your mouth. Yes, is impossible to sustain.
It is eviscerated.
However, delicious. Oops, all berries is just Captain Crunch, but it was just oops, all berries.
Oh, what a mistake.
Okay. So anyway, so I bought that slab. And so to acknowledge that is the reason I'm making this piece out of the slab, then immediately invites the question of like, what happened to the relationship, and like how far down that rabbit hole do you want to go?
No, you don't. It doesn't necessarily invite that question. No, I mean, look, as you said here, it didn't work out. It ended abruptly. Enough. That's just enough. I mean, like, look, it is what it is.
Okay,
that's fine.
All right.
If I watched a YouTube video, I would accept like there's a modicum of privacy. You don't want to put anyone on blast. You don't want to like spill, dirty laundry. No one everyone understands that. So I don't think you have. I don't think it invites.
I guess that's getting right there. I think is getting at the core of the question of like how exposed is too exposed. Because on the one hand, I completely agree with you. Like you could say, I was in a relationship. This is why I bought the slab. That relationship ended, and so I am making this piece out of that slab in order to just clear space to process the end of that relationship. Full stop.
Can I ask you a question about that?
Mm.
When you say, I guess I'm a little curious about what it's like to be in inner turmoil and make a piece. And you keep using this phrase to clear space. I understand what that means. Like if you have items laying around your house and you want to put them in the cabinet so you don't have to look at them anymore. Like I get that. If that's clearing space, if that's what you mean, I get it. But it seems to me that through you making this piece, it's some sort of catharsis or cleansing, or it
Yeah.
gives you processing time, or
Yep. Yep.
what is going on with that? Like I don't get that part. Can you explain that part to me?
I think that's a damn fine question. And that's exactly what's happening. You hit the nail on the head, but I don't know. I've never tried to articulate what's happening in those moments. Think maybe part of it is knowing, like, in the immediate aftermath, um, my reflex is to, and maybe this is universal reflex, but my reflex is to avoid, like it's distraction. It's whatever is happening. Pour me another whiskey, bring over another friend. Let's fucking hang out till 3 a.m.
Yeah.
Let's,
Anything so you're not alone with your thoughts.
right.
Yeah.
And as we've talked about many a time on this podcast, in good times and in bad, I don't do well when I'm alone with my thoughts and not able to expel them. And so often, how I expel them is, or whatever that anxious energy is just walking, just moving around the streets of Philly, getting it out, thinking about things, processing life. And I think when these moments occur, ultimately what I'm doing is creating a rhythm of meditation, almost like it's a way, a way of both expelling these things, but also creating a dedicated time to confronting the discomfort instead of running away from it.
And having something to do with your hands while
yeah, having a focused outcome, so that, like, and I noticed this even during the making of this piece, is like, when I started the piece, it was borderline mania. Like, it is just like, I don't know where I'm going, but I'm going that way because that way is not right here, right? Like, it is just move forward.
Yeah.
And then by the time the piece was done, Larissa and I were talking about it one day, and I was like, I feel like I got the thing out. And that doesn't mean that it's over. That doesn't mean that the processing is over.
Yeah, but the mania is gone.
But yes, like it's been expelled.
I see.
Yeah, I don't know. And again, how do you articulate that, or do you articulate that to a public space?
I feel like for the YouTube video, maybe something like this, Eric. The more I listen to what you're saying and think about how I know you personally, and think about my own experience together, all swirl all of that together into a sandwich. I guess I hear something that might be appropriate with a preamble to set the stage for what people are about to see, to give them an insight into some of the story. 3 things ish. That way they understand some of the significance, some of the depth that will add to their appreciation for what they're watching. And then maybe a few closing thoughts, which is like what you kind of just said is a closing thought. It's like, I went into this because I had all of this emotional pain and what we'll call energy, and I didn't know what to do with it. So I poured it into this cabinet. And by the time I was finished, I noticed that the pressure inside me had largely resided. It doesn't mean that the pain's gone, but at least that, it's some sort of conclusion. Like if you have a preamble and three parts of the cabinet during the thing,
right.
and a conclusion. I feel like that's helpful. It even goes beyond your own story. I think many people will be thinking about their own.
So this is a thing I think about often. Adam Duritz, who's the lead singer songwriter for Counting Crows, I listened to an interview with him one time, and he said, this is a paraphrase, but he said basically the universal is in the specific. So like the more specific you get about your experience, and in his case, writing a song, the more people can directly relate to it. And I think that's true, but there's also like that's asking a lot of the audience. And we ask a lot of our audience on this show, which is, again, like why I'm comfortable having this conversation with you in front of this audience. But like putting that out to YouTube, that's a different audience. What are they there for? And so if I'm going to tell a story, if it's going to be a how-to video, that's one thing. I'm not going to do a how-to video. If I'm going to tell a story about the object, how do I tell that story in a way that doesn't feel overexposed? Like in a way that in 2 years, I can look back on that video and I'm not embarrassed about it.
Well, then play it tight. I think what you'd be embarrassed about is playing it too loose.
Right. I agree.
So if anything, play it tighter than you might otherwise think.
Yeah. Yeah.
Look, playing it tight will never age poorly. Playing it loose may. It just, I think.
I agree. What is the third? So if I use the rule of 3 that you said before,
yeah,
we've got the slab, we've got the lock,
the wood, and something about the drawer. Is there anything about the drawers or?
Are we going to talk about the fact that they're sized for specific objects from the relationship, including the engagement ring, or no? We're going to leave that one on the table. You see how far we can go with it, and it becomes uncomfortable, right?
Again, I'm not laughing, but yes, that's number 3, Erik.
Yeah.
Without a doubt. I think that's good. Look, that's enough. Any more than that, and it gets emotionally overwhelming, and it may not age well. It may seem like, oh, Erik, he's going through something. I mean, look, we know you're going through something.
At some point, it also feels like mildly pathetic. You know what I mean?
Yes, I know.
Yeah.
So I think 3 is the magic number personally, and I think those 3 you've outlined tonight are perfect. Honestly.
Oof. All right. Well, I guess we'll find out on Saturday if I agree with you or not.
Watch him go full silence.
It's just stoic, baby. Let's ride. Oh, all right, buddy. This is such a light and airy episode. Oh. It's so good. What do you got for us?
Well, can I add? I'm going to add something before I come up with my question.
Please.
That one of my best friends in the world died yesterday.
Jesus fucking Christ! Are you serious?
I'm totally serious.
We're on air, so I don't want to ask you like who and all of the details.
I know
you didn't tell me about this. Yeah.
No, I haven't had a chance.
Yeah.
When I was 18. I became friends with the band director. I was friends with his daughter. She was in band with me. I became friends with him. His name's Jack. And just from knowing his daughter's in band, I met him, and it's clear we had a love of music in common, like a deep, deep love of music. And I went to prom, not with his daughter, but like his daughter was with a friend of mine and I was with someone else. But so I went to his house, prom, and I saw all his instruments there. And there was just a vibe between and it spanned generations. I was 18 and he was 30 years older, 37 years older. Yeah. 37 years older. He was in his 50s and you might think that that's weird, right? Like my parents were certainly concerned. They're like, what? Like you're friends with like a 50-year-old man? Like what the fuck? Yep. And I know but I've never been one to follow convention.
Sure.
I just followed my whatever I thought was right. Like Jack and I became instant friends. I don't know how it happened. I don't know why it happened. It's kind of like Hal, who taught me woodworking across the street. I was 33, he was 80. You know, when I met Pooch, I was 18, he was 55 or whatever. Like I can't explain it. It just I don't know. I don't know if any of you out there have friends that span generations, but it just happens. You know, I'm sure there's
Yeah.
someone who you met who's old.
Yeah,
Anyway,
you got to be what, 20, 30 years older than me?
fuck off. So, yeah, Jack and I were friends for 32 years, and he would, we would play Frisbee together. We'd play music together all the time. We would listen to music a lot together. He became my coach, my trombone coach, when I was trying to get into area band and all state, because like he could like, you know, you're cheating on the F sharp scale, you know, like he could like hold my feet to the fire. And it was just such a joyous, he's one of the nicest humans I ever met. And he had a photographic memory too. So he's like, do you know what we did on July 13th, 1985? And I'm like, I have no idea. You know, like it wasn't 85. It must have been in the 90s because that was when I was in high school. But you get the point. Like he could tell it, like I could give him a date. He'd know what day of the week it was, and he'd know what we did. It's such a joyful relationship. And he'd visit me through college and through grad school. He'd come out and we'd, you know, and I just saw him a month ago.
Really?
He moved to Connecticut to be closer to his kids. And I was like, he's only in Connecticut. He was in New Jersey. He's only in Connecticut. And I'm like, I got to go visit. I got to go visit Jack. Like, it's just been too long. I mean, I'd see him every time I came to New Jersey.
Sure.
So I just saw him a month ago. And sure enough, of course, he slowed down. Sure, he had a walker and all this. And, you know, but that was fine. We still went out to dinner. We still shot the shit. We still teased each other. Oh, you're moving slow for an old bag of shit. You know what I mean? Like, constantly, you know. He's like, well, just you wait, young timer, you know. And I'm like, do you still put the dollar bills? Like, do you still put the bills in denominational order in your wallet, like ones and fives and tens and 20s? Because that's OCD shit. He's like, why don't you just eat your dinner before I don't pay for it?
He's like, he's like, I don't even own a debit card. What the fuck is that?
He doesn't. No, it was a great dinner we had. And I was I don't know, something lit a fire under my ass to go see him a month ago. And I'm so glad we went out to dinner. His wife's still fine. She's like also in her 80s, totally able-bodied, lovely. I saw her. And then, I got the call yesterday from his daughter that he passed. The motherfucker didn't tell me that. Like, I knew he had like slow growing cancer, but it wasn't really growing. It was just kind of like stasis for like many years. He didn't tell me like that it reactivated and he was going through stuff. And I suspect he didn't want to like burden me with it.
See, that's sorry. Go ahead.
Well, it's a blessing and a curse because the truth is I watched my mother die. You know, my dad also died. Like watching people die is not something that's high on my bingo card.
Yeah.
Of course, you know, I don't want them to be alone. And he was with his family, surrounded by his, you know, it was just great. So I don't hold it, you know, I think he wanted our relationship to be about fun. Yeah. You know, we always had fun together.
Yeah.
And I don't think he wanted to bring down the mood. And it's like, really? Like all the way to the end, Jack?
But how old was he?
He was 87.
First of all, 87's a good fucking run. You know, like that's a stand-up triple. Maybe I'm rounding home, you know, like that's a good run.
And he knew it. He said, Paul, you know, I feel like I'm in the bonus time. Yeah. He's like, once I hit like 75, 80, he's like, these are all bonus years. Like I didn't expect any of this.
Yeah. And there's also, you got to imagine, and I'm not trying to make light of anything, but you also got to imagine as an 87-year-old dude who probably his whole family knew that the cancer had come back and it wasn't long. Like he had a moment where he got to be with you and just like fucking
be
chill.
normal.
Just be normal and just like crack jokes and fucking
Yeah.
make fun of you. And you know, like you got to have a real human moment. And he was like, let's just why taint that with telling Paul that I have cancer?
I know he looked a little distant at dinner, a little far off, and I was like, "What's going on?" And I'm like, "Is that just age creeping in, or is he? Or is he? You know?" So part of me wonders, like, how much he knew a month ago. But then we went back to his place, and he played his harp for me. He's like playing this symphonic harp, Erik, huge,
fucking amazing.
And he played Unchained Melody. I recorded it on my phone. I'm so glad I took my phone out. He played Unchained Melody on a fucking symphonic harp.
That's
on
amazing.
the last time we saw each other.
Yeah.
It was great. Of course it was great.
Yeah.
So that happened yesterday. And of course, when I got the call, I was like, of course I cried for a little bit. Just, I don't know, maybe the shock of it. But I had been preparing myself for this for years and years. He wrote me so many hundreds of letters. I kept them all. They're all in my basement.
Yeah.
And I prepared myself. I don't know if you think about preparing yourself for death often, but having lost both my parents, like it's the kind of thing that when you see someone in their upper 80s, you kind of like think about it and you're like, there will come a day when I'm on this earth and maybe they're not. And I'm going to have to be okay with that.
Yeah.
And there's been so many times I said to myself and to him that I know there's going to come a time when I'm here and you're not. And that's going to be tough. But I'm so thankful. What a good human you were.
Yeah.
And we had so many good times together. Well, it's just, I feel like I just want to say that. Yeah. How many friends do you have left where you have 32 years of history together?
Yeah.
And I feel like as you get older, you get less and less of those people. Like, my parents knew me for even longer.
Of course. Yeah. Yeah.
But anyway, that happened. So that leads me to my question, Erik.
Well,
actually.
before you ask your question, I just want to say, this is why I tell you that I love you. This is why I tell my friends that I love them.
I love
because
you too, buddy.
there will come a point where I don't get to tell you that anymore.
It's true.
And I hope that whenever that point is, that I said it enough that you knew it and believed it. That's all there is to it.
Considering I'm about 30 years older than you, I think that time's coming for me first, big guy. When I choked the chicken.
Gonna dehydrate yourself to death, buddy. Come on, you gotta be careful out there. Get that Gatorade up in that bitch.
If anyone doesn't get that reference, watch the previous episode.
I hope to Christ when I get word that you fucking died, that they're like, he died of dehydration. He was wanking it too many times.
Stop it. Oh my God. That was so funny. Oh, I'm crying. Oh, that's so funny. Okay. So,
right,
Erik,
anyway,
that's question. My tribute to my friend Jack. I love him. I will always love him. And this got me thinking about my question for tonight, which is, I'm going to start it with the observation, and then we can talk about what's behind the observation. The observation is this. As I've gotten older or more into art, I'm not sure which or both, I've gotten more sensitive. The sensitivity knob on empathy, on catching on to people's feelings, on caring, the sensitivity knob has just been turned to a 10. I didn't used to be that way. When I was in graduate school and I was just doing science all the time, I was like, I was not sensitive. I was like hardcore. Well, sucks to suck. Like, too bad. That's too bad for you. Should have done this. Like, it was just so cut and dry. Everything was black and white. And it was easy. It was easy to not think about problems. You just out of sight, out of mind. Just out of sight. Water off a duck's back. Impervious. now 20 years later, I feel everything, and I feel it hard. And it's a blessing and a curse. It's a blessing because I feel like if from an art perspective and from an emotional perspective, you can read the tea leaves, you can look at a piece and you can see what kind of vibe it gives you. You feel it. You feel the nuance of like every little change. You're like, it puts it in like it's a little too harsh, or it's a little too subtle. It doesn't quite have the effect. You know what I mean? It's as if you're like a fine-tuned like machine, like kind of looking at art, talking about art all the time, talking with your friends. Oh, I love you, man. How's it going? Talking to, yeah, it's like every day we're fucking neck deep in emotions, in in philosophical thoughts, in challenging questions, in empathy, in all that. And that makes you more vulnerable to feeling hard feelings like the pain of loss or arguments or rifts or like breakups. So I guess my question is twofold. Have you found that's true? That as you've become better at art, you've become more emotionally receptive and more emotionally available to the yin yang of good and bad emotions. And second of all, what's behind it? Is it has art conditioned you to be this way? Or were you always this way and art just developed it? Or is it age related? Or is it all three?
Oh, I'm not. I. Oh, God damn. I think that I am naturally predisposed to big emotions, you know, um, to feel things, not necessarily more than other people. I don't think that's true. But the things that I do feel and engage with are they're sizable, you know. Um, and I think age has made me more aware of other people's experiences as well. So I think when I was younger, I think those emotions were largely about my own experience. And then as time has gone by, I have noticed other people's experiences have started to affect me the same way as my own experiences. I don't think that's necessarily related to art. I think maybe what art has done is helped me. It gave me a vehicle early on to articulate things that I couldn't in words, and then over time and practice, that manifested in healthier relationships because I could then both empathize with people's experiences and articulate my own and learn when not to articulate my own and just kind of absorb what they were going through. But I don't know. I think it's age and practice. I don't know that you can disentangle those two things.
Yeah.
You know?
I don't think so.
No?
Well, my own opinion is this: we're born with a predisposition. It's like some athletes are just born with elite eye-hand coordination, just sort of the circuitry's there, right?
Sure.
But it needs
Sure.
practice to become
Yeah.
that like world-class athlete. Not that you and I are world-class artists,
I mean,
but you know what
God,
I'm
we
saying.
were so good.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
there's a genetic predisposition to, I think, being good at art or
Sure.
whatever. But it needs to be developed. So I think there's a practice and a a component of doing the thing for a long period of time that develops that seed that was inside you genetically. So I think you probably had a seed of something about working with your hands or art or sculptural form. Like you just get it. You just get it. And the more you did it, the more you got it. It just developed what I think was already inside you as a child. And in that way, yes, I mean, I think we're born with a little bit of it, but you have to develop it, and it does make you more sensitive, and you get tuned in a little bit more. And I do think age mellows you the fuck out. I just age has mellowed me out so much.
I think I agree.
But
think
the problem is I was aging and doing art at the same time, so it's hard to disentangle them. It's hard to say it was one, it was the other, because they occurred simultaneously. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, I agree. I think age mellows you out, but I don't think that's the same as becoming more open. I think those are two different things. Like there's I mean, how many older folks do we know that as they get older they dig their heels in harder?
Oh, that's true.
You know, and so it's not.
Yeah,
that's
true.
It softens the narcissism maybe to some extent. So like the feelings that you feel, the way that you absorb the world, the way that you process the world is you don't have your main character syndrome is a little bit lessened.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's a given that as you get older, you become more empathetic. I think often it's the opposite, or at least in like pop culture, like we think of old people being obstinate and not open to new ideas.
Wow, that's interesting. You know, I never really thought about it like that. I just thought about my own aging experience, but you're right. It doesn't necessarily mean that you're more open with age.
How do you see that manifesting in your own life? Like outside of your artistic practice. So if you take what you've learned from your artistic practice and apply it directly to your life as you've aged, how does that become a net benefit to your relationships?
I'm less reactive. I'm more an observer. I observe more and speak less. Like if my daughter comes to me with something like, "Oh, right," and she's all worked up about something.
Sure.
Little
fucking technology.
Little technical hiccup there. Sorry, everyone. So Eric,
Paul's computer shit the bed.
Yeah, yeah. Anyway, so you were saying, you know, age doesn't necessarily come with more empathy. In fact, many people dig in and get a little hardened with age. I think that's a very fair point. Perhaps it's the degree to which I engage in like creative types and relationships with creative types and think about art all the time that has kept me or has grown me softer than ever. I don't love it, but it's great for art.
Do you like? But sure, like that's true. Do you not think that's better than the alternative, though?
I suppose it is. It's just hard. It's hard when things don't go your way. It's hard if you like hear a piece of news that is like, you know, tough in the world. Yeah, right. Like you're moved by almost everything. It's tough when like a friend of yours is going through something and, you know, like you, like, you know, you internalize it, you feel it as if it's almost like yourself to some degree. And yes, that's good on the whole, but boy, it the volume has been turned up on the meter.
Yeah, it's exhausting. But so you asked me earlier if I think about death and or like, you know, the ends of those relationships often. And I do. We've talked many a time on this podcast about like legacy and what people think of you and your work afterward. And of course there are not only two options. It's a grayscale, not black and white. But if it were black and white and the options were cold hard motherfucker who like got through shit, you know, he navigated the world fine, but he was pretty shut down because all the experiences. And
I know where you're going.
Like it's exhausting and tiring, but also like he cared, you know. That's always it's this is one thing whenever anybody's like, what is Paul like? You know, like I don't know Paul. What is Paul actually like as a human being? I'm like, this motherfucker cares. You know, he loves. And it's an exhausting way to live, but I think it's a fundamentally better way to live.
It is. Know? It is. It just comes with a price of like, oh, really? But no, you're right, Erik.
I feel that.
Right.
I feel that.
You're right.
But it's also like this is a maybe a gross oversimplification, but it's like when people complain about cooking dinner, it always makes me kind of chuckle a little bit because I'm like, okay, so your options are cook yourself a nice meal or like eat Kraft mac and cheese. And if you ate Kraft mac and cheese every day for the next couple of months, you would be very sick because fucking scurvy or whatever. But also you would hate it by then, you know? So like the idea that it's, hey, you work 8, 10, 12 hours and then you come home and you're like, fuck, I have to cook myself dinner again. Like, yeah, that's exhausting and it never ends. But also like, you and I both know that is the right choice. And that's not to say that sometimes you can't order a pizza or something, but, you know?
It reminded me of that Bare Naked Ladies song, If I Had $1 Million. And it's like, we wouldn't have to eat Kraft dinner, but we would. Remember that? Yeah. God, I just dated myself again. Okay. Well, Erik, that was a lot.
It's a light, airy episode, you know?
That was a lot. That was a lot of a lot. But I think it was good. I was good. You know, I think your topic of how to tell a deep story in an object in a way that is appropriate for, you know, people who may not know and not, you don't want to look back on it 2 years from now and be like, I overdid it. And you don't want that. I think that was a great, how to strike the balance between, Vicky loves that term, how to strike that balance between like saying too much and not saying enough. I think that's a great topic.
Well, I think it's a thing I hope that people can relate to. I think I think the majority of our listeners are woodworkers, but I think we have creative folks of all media. And I think we as a people tend to make objects that have emotional weight to them, you know? And sometimes you got to make the object. But how do you relate that to a broader audience is the question.
And sometimes it's a lightweight and sometimes it's a heavyweight. Like sometimes it's like this and other times it's this light, joyful weight, like a collaboration between two people and you're just exchanging ideas.
Yeah.
And then the second part, obviously the tribute to my friend Jack, which I love. It's great. What a great thing it is to think about people who were so good to you and like added so much to your life, and just to give them a moment of tribute, but then to understand that maybe the more we pursue art, the more we're going to be sensitive to the waves of emotion through our lives. I don't know if it's age related or art related or what. I'm sure the audience probably has some thoughts on that.
Oh, I would be curious to hear some folks' opinions on that.
Yeah.
I feel like it's a biased crowd because we're all creative people. But you know, I would be genuinely curious to hear which avenue do they think is making them more open to the human experience as time goes by.
I wonder, I guess the first question is, are they more open to the human experience over time?
I also feel like this is a confirmation bias. Like the people who aren't open aren't going to answer that question. They're not going to send us DMs, you know?
Speak of which, about sending us DMs, I actually made a chat space on Patreon just a few days ago for all our patrons. So if you support us on Patreon, there's a fairly active chat going on. And what we do is, so far, is I share snippets of upcoming episodes about like what topic we're ideating about, and people can ask questions or like have questions included or give us their experience before the episode so that we can mention it or reflect on it or add their questions in, which I think helps all of us. Like, I think the people asking the questions obviously wanted them answered. And I think you and I always wanted to have a little bit more, feel a little more tuned in to what the listeners were thinking.
Agreed.
Before the episode. So
yeah,
that's going on Patreon. So thank you for whoever supports us. And if you do support us on Patreon, obviously you get the video feed and our new chat community and the after show.
And I do just want to reiterate, because we haven't in a while, that the Patreon is what pays for the expenses of this show. It pays for the hosting fees. It pays for the mics. It pays for the headphones. It pays for all of the things that we need to make sure that we can do this show for you guys regularly. So if you like the show, if you want to support it, that's the place to do it. We appreciate and love every one of you who are doing that. And then you get access to the after show where we talk about less heavy things. There will be jokes in the after show. I promise you that. What do we have planned for the after show?
I have no idea.
That was the laugh. I'll tell you what. We did just get back from, or I just got back from Maker Camp a few days ago. We could talk about that. I did, as what feels like annual tradition now, create a new fan account on Instagram.
You did,
which we could talk about in the after show.
Oh no, Eric! It's not like Phineas Tournament, is it?
It's a good one. I was genuinely surprised that this account was open, so I had to take it while it was there.
Oh no, I'm scared to even ask. Yeah,
we can talk about it in the after show.
Well, actually, what I'd like to hear about in the after show, of course, Maker Camp. But you said you've been getting all sorts of feedback about the Woodworking is Bullshit podcast. I'd like to hear a little bit about that.
For sure. We can talk about that.
All right, everyone. Well, there it is. Barstool Confessions. That is about as real as it gets.
You guys, appreciate you guys trudging through the fucking muck with us.
That was a lot, that one.
Yeah.
But all right, everyone. Well, we'll see you in the after show or see you next time.
Okay, bye.
Bye.